Good morning, everyone. Welcome to beautiful British Columbia, Canada. My name is Michail Boncea. I am an independent broadcaster. I focus on news and live events that most independent media don't have the time, and especially that main media doesn't have the time to cover. Today, my main focus is going to be from the Pope. Yes, I'm going to quote the Pope and his spokesperson, that is the people of the Catholic Church and his spokesperson. For the record, I'm not Catholic, I am an Orthodox Christian, but I'm going to focus on it because he has some very interesting news that he said on his way back from France to the Vatican. Who am I? I'm a former international sports photographer slash reporter. I covered National Hockey League, NHL, and the Vancouver Canucks. I covered the Western Hockey League, WHL, and Vancouver Giants. I am a former official photographer of the Canadian Army for a few events. I also was Memorial Cup, Man Cup, and over 3 years on Delta Islanders Junior Lacrosse team, and Newsmister, Arts Council. I can go on and on and on. But let's move on. What about now? I came back because I missed the action. I'm hoping to get my drone today, maybe tomorrow, who knows. And I will plan to become a blogger and cover live events. I'm one team person now. In the past, I was a multiple team people. Many times I knew what I had to ask or who I had to interview. Now I'm just alone, and this is part time, and I just hope that down the road it will become a full-time job. But right now, realistically, at best I'm part-time. If you have a live event or a company in Greater Vancouver area and you want me to cover it, let me know. I will mention it in one of my Monday to Friday broadcasts. Today is a bonus broadcast. Sometimes, like I said, I will broadcast. Sometimes I broadcast, like I said, on Saturday and Sunday. But that's not gonna happen every weekend. The weekend is my weekend. Just today, I had one of my Polish friends send me the Pope message towards the world. Because, in case you guys don't know, at New York, it was the United Nations week where all the UN supposedly leaders showed up. Most didn't, which was shocking. Most European leaders sent their foreign ministers, not their presidents. That's how little they cared about the event. But either way, the Pope had a message for the war in Ukraine, and I'm gonna pass his message on word by word, and then as well his spokesperson word by word message. Let's move on. Today is September 24th, 2023. If you like my content, always please subscribe and please click like. Reason is, the more likes and subscribe messages I get, the more likely people can view my videos, and the more news like this that the world has not heard of from the Pope that is about to be announced. And I'm quoting the Pope word by word, will come up. Zelensky went to a Canadian armed facility with Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister. Facility in Toronto, Ontario. About 1,000 people were gathered, including the Premier of Ontario. And he got $650 million in cash. No weapons. In cash. Congratulations to Zelensky. Maybe Zelensky should listen to the Pope. Or maybe our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who's supposed to be a Catholic, should listen to the Pope. The Pope is the head of the Catholic Church. Maybe one of them. Unless they're too busy stealing money left and right. A shootout, sadly, in Coquitlam on Friday killed Constable Rick O'Brien. It took place around 10 in the morning as Rich Meadows RCMP were executing residents near intersection Pine Tree and Glen Drive in Coquitlam. My heart goes out to the RCMP family member that died in that trouble. Moraes, which is the main hub for all our transactions in Canada, network outage caused widespread disruption of credit, debit payments, and for a few hours you couldn't do anything with your accounts. It is what it is. According to the BBC, this is BBC I'm quoting. Whenever I write something that is from another platform, I quote them. We got a problem. Canada, Justin Trudeau, in 5 days, according to BBC, had not one person from political leaders support us. They went on and said, the world's fastest growing economy is in India. This is according to BBC. It's 35 times bigger than Canada. Even UK and Australia only went on as far as deeply concerned by the accusations. US refused. did not speak with up to outrage on Canada belief. We screwed up big time. We needed to have proof. We had no proof. And Justin Trudeau is coming back to Canada empty-handed, like a loser. And main media in Canada is probably going to say, oh, well, hey, it's expected. No, it's not. You have to protect the country. BYD. Yes, I know I mention BYD often. But BYD has over 13,000 patents applications worldwide. Tesla only 863. So, again, BYD over 13,000 patents and Tesla only 863. This is bad sign that Tesla is gonna be expecting to pay money very soon to those patents. I came across a friend of mine online, and my friend basically said, do you know Canada? And I said, oh, hell yeah, I do. And he said, how well do you know Canada? I said, I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm not perfect, but I'm good at it. He's like, how many countries border Canada? My idea was 2, because I knew there was a French colony just outside Newfoundland, and obviously United States of America across the 49th parallel plus Alaska. And he's like, you're wrong. And I was like, what do you mean I'm wrong? There's more than 2 countries that border Canada? It's like, okay, so how am I wrong? He's like, there's 3 countries. I'm like, what do you mean 3 countries? It's not possible. He's like, yeah, man, you failed. I mean, I don't like to fail. And he's like, you failed. And I'm like, okay, explain to me, where is the 3rd country coming from? And I hear Denmark. And I'm like, Greenland. No way. And they're like, and he's like, there is the go. It touches our border. And I'm like, I was so naive and innocent or stupid, no matter how you want to call it. I didn't realize Greenland has 3,000-mile maritime border that is separating us from Greenland. Russian peacekeepers with aid from Russian peacekeepers are going inside Nagorno-Karabakh of Armenia. The separatists have surrendered 70 tons of humanitarian supplies, including wheat flour, salt, and sunflower oil. Russia said it has delivered more than 50 tons of food and other aid to Karabakh. From inside sources, at least 5,000 people from the Karabakh area have been moved to Russian territory under full and proper evacuation observed by the Azerbaijani army. First Amazon workers last few days start moving their stuff inside the Vancouver new brand downtown office, which was the former, it is currently the Vancouver Amazon head office for Canada, but former Vancouver, Canada post office. The Pope has come in and has declared with Ukraine on military aid. The Pope spoke to reporters about the frustration. And I'm quoting the Pope now. It's not me talking, it's the Pope. With the war on the arms industry aboard, the papal place while returning to the Vatican from a visit to France. Quote, "It seems to me that interests in this war are not just those related to the Ukrainian-Russian problem, but to the share of weapons. We should not play games with martyrdom of these people. I see now that some countries are moving backwards, not wanting to give Ukraine arms. A process is starting in which the martyr certainly will be Ukrainian people, and that is an ugly thing." Pope went on. The Vatican spokesperson Matteo Bruni expanded on the Pope's comments when asked to clarify it. It was a reflection on the consequences of the arms industry. ... There was a lot more talked about it afterwards. Those who traffic in weapons never pay consequences of their choices, but leave them to be paid by the people, like the Ukrainians who have been martyred. Those of you who don't know me, I have family in Ukraine. I am part Ukrainian and part Russian. I come from a very famous Russian family. My mom doesn't want me to name who my great-grandfather was or my grandfather was. Out of respect of it, I'll keep it at that. They were born in Ukraine. They were Romanian heritage, but they fought in the White Russian Army, and in World War II they fought in White Russian Army, to be polite. My mom's mom is Jewish. My mom's dad is a former commander of a Russian army that hunted down Jews. He ended up in Romania. He married my mom's mom, and he made family. My grandpa was in his military uniform. Yes, my mom, I know you're gonna complain, but it's the truth. He was surrounded by his soldiers. My grandma went to see him. He was surrounded, like I said, with his fellow soldiers. She asked him, "Who are you?" He looked at her. According to my grandma, he said, "I am so and so." "Who are you?" She said, "I want to buy you a drink." They're like, "The drinks are free for us." She's like, "I'm buying you a drink." And my grandma was that brave. You wanted a more brave lady? Nah, you can't find it. He was like, "Who the heck are you?" According to my grandma, she said, "I'm buying you a drink. What do you care?" They remained for the rest of their lives together. History. It was funny. My grandma always reminds me. I got her cross in the kitchen, and in my bedroom I have her icon that she pray to every day. But what's funny, grandma said how a person that literally killed Jewish people a few months before fell in love with a Jewish lady. Well, let's move on. It is sad to report that possibly in British Columbia, a lake located in Yoho National Park is possibly that the fish may have to be all killed due to parasite. China largest automaker, which is coming as a surprise to me. Well, not a surprise that is the largest automaker, but it comes as a surprise to me that BYD launches its Dolphin electric car in Mexico Friday, expanding its brand in North America. I pretty much expect BYD to come to USA and Canada in the next 2-3 years max. With the 500,000 Dolphin UAV also rolling off the line, the affordable UAV looks to be a global powerhouse. BYD is coming for the market. Problem is for Tesla. Are you gonna go for BYD market and try to spend money on cheap EV cars? Or are you gonna go for Lucid? Either way, I expect Tesla to be drastically destroyed in the next 7 to 10 years. Reason is BYD has already the cheap cars and they're moving in across the world. So Tesla can't compete with that. If they can, they must manufacture 1 million extra cars a year, which they cannot do so. They refused to build a manufacturing plant in Saudi Arabia. So Tesla now has Lucid competing on their market share, which means fancy electric cars. On top of that, tons of other Chinese cars. If you are an investor in Tesla, I'm not advising by any means. Please don't take this the wrong way. But I will sell my shares in Tesla now and then buy them later, because they're not going to be any more than Ford or GMC at best. Last but not least, Poland has stated no more shipments of weapons to Ukraine. It has an election in October the 15th, and the Justice of Peace Party, PIS, is expected to suffer major losses. Thank you everyone, and see you Monday.